Soccer players or football players can sometimes make us raise our eyebrows when we see what they can get up to. The worst combination is probably a football player with a huge ego and lots of money, which is probably not that rare among them. The stuff some of these players can get up to can sometimes be simply mind-blowing and controversial. From players attacking fans and each other to them doing irresponsible stuff off the pitch, we wanted to know what the most controversial moments were for soccer players, so we went looking. Enjoy the video. Here are the football soccer players' most controversial moments. But before we get into the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so you don't miss any of the new videos we post. Hand of God, Maradona 1986. Argentina vs. England was a quarterfinal match in the 1986 World Cup. The game had not been held for 4 years due to the Falkland War between Argentina and the United Kingdom. The rivalry between the two nations was intense for the same reason. Maradona was one of the most famous players and was known for his arrogant attitude. He scored 2 of the most famous goals in this match. The first was in the 51st minute of the game. The ball was in the air and the English goalkeeper rushed out of the goal to knock the ball away. However, Maradona managed to reach it first and hit the ball with his left fist. The Tunisian referee did not notice the infringement and allowed the goal. Later, it was repeatedly shown on TV and newspapers that it was clearly a handball and Maradona should have been penalized. But when Maradona later told reporters that he was aided by the hand of God, the play went from larcenous to legendary. Zinedine Zidane, headbutt 2002. Zinedine Zidane is a French footballer and the former captain of the French soccer team. He was the one who single-handedly brought France to a World Cup triumph. In the early part of the last decade, Zidane was considered one of the greatest players of all time. It was the 2002 World Cup final between France and Italy. After 90 minutes of the game, it was 1-1, causing the game to move into extra time. It was at this point when the Italian player Materazzi hurled some abusive language towards Zidane, and he retaliated with a headbutt to him in his chest. The referee then showed him the red card, and his career ended in the most shameful manner. The match moved on to a penalty shootout as both the teams failed to score in the extra time. France went on to lose the game. This question consumed the soccer world long after the Italian defender had fallen in a heap. The French captain had been sent off, and the Azzurri had cruised to victory. Months later, some light was shed on the issue when Materazzi admitted that he had provoked Zidane by insulting his sister. Frank Lampard was just a douche. One of England's golden generation, but the one who's probably come out looking best. As a young footballer, Frank Lampard caused quite a bit of stir. He was featured in the 2004 documentary Sex, Footballers, and Videotape, though it was footage of the footballer's escapades from 4 years previous. He was also caught with several teammates in a Heathrow hotel on September 12, 2001, drinking and mocking grieving American tourists. In his personal life, he was caught cheating on his fiancée and mother of his 2 children, Ellen Rivas, several times before she left him in late 2008. He's managed to stay out of the negative spotlight for the most part since then, and has let his England and Chelsea teammates take the front pages. But the controversy will forever rage over why he can't play with Steven Gerrard. England vs. West Germany 1966 World Cup Final. Another massive moment in World Cup history occurred during the 1966 World Cup Final between England and West Germany. In the 101st minute, England striker Geoff Hurst pivoted and hit a shot into the crossbar that bounced downwards and out of the goal. The Swiss referee Gottfried Diest was unsure if the ball crossed the line, but Soviet linesman Tofik Bakramov signaled it did, which put England 3-2 up. This moment has divided opinion for years. Was it a goal or wasn't it? 1 minute before the end of play, the West Germans sent their defenders forward in a desperate attempt to score a last-minute equalizer. Winning the ball, Bobby Moore picked out the unmarked Geoff Hurst with a long pass, which Hurst carried forward while some spectators began streaming onto the field, and Hurst scored moments later. Hurst later admitted that his blistering shot was intended to send the ball as far into the Wembley stands as possible should it miss, in order to kill time on the clock. The final goal gave rise to one of the most famous calls in English football history, when BBC commentator Keith Wolstenholme described the situation as follows. And here comes Hurst. He's got some people are on the pitch. They think it's all over. It is now. It's 4. Paolo Di Canio Nazi salute, among others. A maverick figure at times, games. Paolo Di Canio has in time pushed over a referee, not to mention starting fights with his own players. Yet when playing for Lazio, the ex-West Ham United player was making the wrong sort of headlines. This particular incident happened during his time in Series A, which later earned him a ban for 1 game. The fascist salute made by Di Canio took place on separate occasions against Livorno and Juventus. The most controversial episode was when he made the same salute at the end of a game when his former club Lazio beat their archenemies Roma by 3-1. Ronaldo's wink. England continued its run of controversy in a 2006 quarter-final encounter with Portugal, in which Wayne Rooney was sent packing for stamping on Ricardo Carvalho. Portugal's Cristiano Ronaldo may have been a teammate of Rooney's at Manchester United, but that didn't stop him from waving an imaginary red card at the referee. Then, after Rooney left the field, Ronaldo winked at the Portuguese bench. And incredibly, the Old Trafford legend says his moment of shame actually brought him and the Portuguese icon closer together after clear-the-air talks in the tunnel after the game. The same could not be said for England fans, who held that moment against Ronaldo for a long time afterwards. El Hadji Diouf for spitting at children. If anyone can think of a more obnoxious footballer, I'd love to hear it. El Hadji Diouf has played for many teams in his time, and he's been unpopular at each one of them. While at Liverpool, he was fined for spitting at fans and opposing players, and he was later charged with assault on a group of fans. When he was at Bolton, he was fined for spitting at an 11-year-old Middlesbrough fan, and just a few weeks later, a Portsmouth player. He also shouted racist claims at an Everton ball boy, claiming it was in retaliation to Everton fans throwing bananas at him, though there was no evidence of that. Queen's Park Rangers managed Neil Warnock, saying Diouf was lower than a sewer rat for mocking QPR player Jamie Mackey as he lay on the pitch with a broken leg. And of course, he was sent off in the highly charged and controversial Old Firm Derby between Celtic and Rangers in January 2011. None of this would be all that controversial if Diouf was any good at football. 20 years on, the kung fu kicking former Manchester United striker Eric Cantona launched at Crystal Palace fan Matthew Simmons moments after being sent off at Selhurst Park. It still resonates as one of the sport's most extraordinary events, even by the standards of football's melodramas. I have one regret. I would have loved to have kicked him even harder. Eric Cantona shows no remorse after the infamous kung fu kick on a Crystal Palace fan in 1995, as Man United legend hails Sir Alex Ferguson for sticking by him like a father. Cantona was incensed by the abuse directed at him by Simmons, a man who, it transpired, had rushed down 11 rows of the stand for the express intention of bidding farewell to the United icon. He memorably informed The Sun his exact words were, "Off you go, Cantona, it's an early bath for you." More reliable witnesses have suggested it was closer to some words we cannot repeat here. He probably deserved his kick. Battle of Santiago, 1962. One of the most infamous matches in tournament history, the Battle of Santiago took place in 1962 between Chile and Italy. Amidst clear tensions after Italian journalists called Santiago a dump, it was still recovering from a 9.5 Richter scale earthquake. Both sides proceeded to assault each other in a myriad of ways. The first foul came after 12 seconds, and the first sending off was in the 12th minute. Punches, kicks, and numerous scuffles meant the police had to intervene 3 times during the match, which Chile won 2-0. When highlights from the match were shown on British television a couple of days later, not the same night because film of matches had to be flown back to the UK, the match was introduced by BBC sports commentator David Coleman as the most stupid, appalling, disgusting, and disgraceful exhibition of football possibly in the history of the game. Stones were even thrown at some Italian players at their training camp. Coleman also observed that it was the first meeting between the sides and hopefully the last. However, the sides were drawn together at the 1966 World Cup and met at Sunderland's Roker Park ground, with Italy winning 2-0. The game passed without a violent incident. That concludes our video for today. We hope you enjoyed it. Are there other moments we missed or ones that were more prominent? If we missed any, feel free to leave a comment or to just say hi. Thank you for watching. We hope to see you back for more videos. Until then, stay safe.